So hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm gonna read you the third chapter of the book called Master Your Emotions, and I hope you're enjoying this series. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's it. Let's get into the third chapter of the book, and today's topic will be the nature of emotions. Emotions can be tricky. In this section, we'll discuss it in depth how they work. By understanding the mechanism behind emotions, you will be able to manage them more effectively as they arise. The first thing to understand is that emotions come and go. One moment you feel happy and the next you feel sad. While you do have some control over your emotions, you must also recognize their unpredictable nature. If you expect to be happy all the time, you'll set yourself up for failure. You then risk blaming yourself when you fail to be happy, or even worse, beat yourself up for it. To start taking control of your emotion, you must accept their transient. You must learn to let them pass without feeling the need to identify strongly with them. You must allow yourself to feel sad without adding the commentary such as I shouldn't be sad or what's wrong with me. Instead, you must allow the reality just to be. You should accept the reality. That's what author is saying. No matter how mentally tough you are, you will still experience sadness, grief, or depression in your life. Hopefully, not at the same time and not continually. At times, you will feel disappointed, betrayed, insecure, resentful, or ashamed. You will doubt yourself and doubt your ability to be the person you want to be. But that's okay because emotions come, but more importantly, they go. Your negative emotions are not bad or useless. You may blame yourself for experiencing negative emotions, or perhaps you see yourself as mentally weak. You may even believe something is wrong with you. However, despite what your inner voice says, your emotions aren't bad. Emotions are simply emotions, nothing more. As such, being depressed doesn't make you feel less of a person that you are 3 weeks ago when you were happy. Feeling sad now doesn't mean able you'll never be able to laugh again. Remember this, the way you interpret emotions as well as the blame game you engage in create suffering, not the emotions themselves. In fact, negative emotions can be helpful. Sometimes you need to touch the rock bottom before you can even reach the top. Even the toughest people on earth became depressed. Elon Musk never imagined he would have a mental breakdown, but he did, and he bounced back. After losing his fiancée, Abraham Lincoln was depressed for months. The tragic event didn't prevent him from becoming the president of US, right? Negative emotions may often serve a purpose. They may serve as a wake-up call. They may help you learn something positive about yourself. Of course, when you are under their spell, it may be difficult to look at the bright side or of things, but in hindsight, you may realize emotions, even sad ones, had their role to play in your ultimate success. Emotions they have a role in your life, right? So emotions play positive and as well as negative role in your life. The positive role of negative emotions. Your emotions are not here to make your life harder, but to tell you something. Without them, you won't grow. Think of your negative emotions as the emotional equivalent of physical pain. While you hate being in pain, if you didn't have pain, chances are you would be dead by now. Physical pain sends a powerful signal that something is wrong, nudging you to take action of some kind. It could be it could be to consult your doctor, which may lead you to undergo a surgery or change your diet or increase exercise. Without physical pain, you wouldn't do any of these things and your situation would worsen, potentially leading to premature death. Emotions work the same way. They signal you to do something about your current situation. Perhaps you need to let go of some people quit your job or remove a disempowering story that creates suffering in your life. The fleeting nature of emotions. No matter how depressed you are, or how much grief you are experiencing, or how horrible you feel at the given point of time, this shall pass. Look at some of the negative emotions you experienced in past. Remember the worst times of your life? During the most difficult periods, you were probably so caught up in your emotion you imagine never being able to escape them. You couldn't imagine being happy again. But even these episodes ended. Eventually, the clouds dissipated and the real you is shown again. Your emotions come and they go. Your depression will go. Your sadness will vanish and your anger will fade. Bear in mind, if you experience the same emotion repeatedly, it probably means you hold disempowering beliefs and need to change something in your life. We'll discuss it how later. If you suffer from severe or chronic depression, it might be a good idea to consult a specialist. The trickiness of emotions. Have you ever felt you will be never happy again? Have you ever been so attached to your emotion you thought they'll never go away? Don't worry, it's a common feeling. We all feel it, right? Negative emotions such as act as a filter that taints the quality of our experiences. During a negative episode, every experience is perceived through this filter, while world outside may remain the same, but you will experience it in completely different way based on how you feel. For instance, when you're depressed, you don't enjoy food you eat, the movie you see, or the activities which you engage in. You only see the negative side of things, feeling trapped and powerless. On the other hand, when you are in a positive mood, everything in your life appears better. Food tastes great, and you're naturally friendlier, and you enjoy activities and try to be part of them. You may now believe that armed with knowledge you have gained from this book, you'll be never depressed again. Wrong. You'll keep experiencing sadness, frustration, depression, or resentment. But hopefully, each time this occurs, you will become wiser and wiser, remembering that this shall too pass. This too shall pass. I have to admit, I can easily be fooled by my emotions. While I know I am not my emotions, I still give them too much credit and fail to realize they are just temporary visitors. More importantly, I fail to remember they are not me. Emotions always come and go, but I remain. Once emotional storm has passed, I generally feel like I'm an idiot for taking my emotions so seriously. Yes, after like 10 years, you'll feel like, oh, I was so stupid crying over that shitty boy. Do you? Interestingly, external factors might not be and often aren't the direct cause of sudden change in your emotional state. You can be the, in the exact same situation with the same jobs, the same amount of money in your bank account, and have same problems as always, but experience radically different emotional states. In fact, if you look at your past, this often what happens. You are mildly depressed for a couple of hours or few days before bouncing back to your default emotional state. During this period of emotional stress, your environment doesn't change at all. The thing that changes is your internal dialogue. I encourage you to make conscious effort to notice when such trickery events happen and start seeing through your emotion trickery. You might want to go one step further and record this event in a journal. I do that. I record my emotions on TikTok. I know it's weird, but I do that and it has helped me to know how I feel throughout the days. By doing so, you will gain a deeper understanding of how emotions work. As a result, you will be better equipped how to manage them. That is true. That helps a lot. The evil power of emotion. An emotion usually represents an amplified, energized thought pattern, and because of its often overpowering and resetting charges. It is not easy initially to stay present enough to be able to watch it. It wants you to take you over, but it usually succeeds unless there is enough presence in you. That's deep. The power of now. Negative emotions are like spell. While you are under their influence, breaking free from them seems impossible. You may know dwelling on the same thoughts is pointless, yet you can't help but go with the flow. Feeling an intense pull, you keep identifying your thoughts, and as a result, you feel worse and worse. When this happens, no rational argument seems to work. The more these emotions fit your personal story, the stronger pull becomes. For instance, if you believe you aren't good enough, you may experience negative emotions such as guilt or shame. Each time you judge what to do, what you do is not so good. Because you have experienced these emotions so many times before, they have become automatic response. For more information on how the identification of emotion works, refer to the section identification. Okay, we'll read it thoroughly again. The filtering power of emotions. Your emotional state can drastically affect your outlook on life, leading you to act and behave differently. When you are in a positive state, you have more energy available. This gives you more confidence in every day what you do, and openness to consider new action that could improve your life. The ability to leave or break out of your comfort zone. More emotional room to preserve during this tough times. Better ideas and enhanced creativity. Easy access to positive emotions within the same emotional range. When you're in a negative state of mind, you have less energy available, giving you lack of confidence that affects everything you do, a lack of motivation that reduces the scope of actions you're willing to take, the reluctance to take new challenges, leave your comfort zone, reduced ability to preserve face in the face of setbacks, and prosperity to attract negative thoughts within the same emotional range. This is see can you see the power of emotions? They can make you feel, at the same time they can make you feel the shittiest person in the world, and in the same way you can feel like the best person on this damn planet. So this is all play of the emotions, and emotions are like spell. Let's have a look at a real life example. Let me share you a real life example from my own life. Both cases happened in the same external condition. The only difference was my emotional state at the time. Feeling excited about my own online business, more confidence in everything I do. I feel as though my ideas are good. I am excited to work on my book and eager to write articles. Opening I am open to sharing my work and promoting it. And openness to consider new course of action. I am open to new ideas or to work on a new project. I can think of ways to collaborate with other authors and start building a new coaching program to offer my audience. This the ability to get out of my comfort zone. It becomes easier for me to push myself beyond my comfort zone. I may contact people I don't know or run a Facebook Live for people, for instance, right? More emotional room for preserve. I stick to my projects even when I lack motivation. Case 2, feeling mildly depressed due to my lack of my result, a lack of confidence. I started doubting myself and all the projects I'm currently working on. Suddenly, on everything I do becomes useless, not good enough. Thoughts like, "What's the point? I'm not going to make it. I am stupid." cross my mind. Needless to say, promoting myself becomes a major challenge. The lack of motivation. I don't feel like doing anything. I am attacked by and I'm unable to escape the spell of these negative thoughts. I have same negative thoughts again and again which repeat like a broken record. They all seem so real and taint all my experiences. A difficulty to take new challenges. I have a little energy left over to leave my comfort zone and undertake take challenging projects. A reduced ability to preserve. I have difficulty finishing tasks and I procrastinate over tasks I should be working on. Both cases happen only a few days apart. The external environment was exact same, but my emotional state was radically different and led me to take different action. The magnetic power of emotions. Your emotions act like magnets. They attract thoughts on the same wave. That's why when you are in negative state, you easily attract negative thoughts, and by latching onto this, you make situation worse and worse and worse. As Eckhart Tolle wrote in The Power of Now, often a vicious circle builds up between your thinking and emotion. They feed each other. The thought pattern creates magnified reflection of itself in form of an emotion and the vibrational frequency of emotion keeps feeding the original pattern. Like if the what you think you attract, right? That is real, that is so real, and author has also emphasized it so bad. If you just keep thinking about negative emotions, they are gonna come to you and you're gonna build them in your mind. Now let's see what you can do to break free from this from uh, to break free from this magnetic power. Breaking the magnetic power of emotion. Let's say you have a bad day at work and you are in a terrible mood. The negative state you are in causes you to attract more negative thoughts. Suddenly, you fixate on the fact you're still single at 30 and start beating yourself up over it. Then you blame yourself for being overweight. You also remember that you have to go to the office the following Saturday, which reminds you how much your job sucks. Do you see how much easier it is to attract negative thoughts when you're feeling low? To prevent this from happening, it's essential to remove habit of clustering negative thoughts together. A real life example. I have a knee problem which prevents me from practicing many sports. Since I have always loved sports, these injuries have been source of my emotional pain. Fortunately, I seldom feel pain in my knees, but when I do, it can trigger negative emotions. One day I was observing my thought process. We all have different hobbies, haven't we? I realized experiencing pain in my knee negatively affected my mood, triggering up more negative emotions and negative feedback loop. The pain would cause me to focus on all things that were going wrong on my from my work to my personal life. As a result, I would experience negative emotions for hours and sometimes even days. The point I'm making is no matter how great your life is, if you spend most of your time focusing on your problems, you will become depressed. And thus, to reduce negative emotions, you must learn to compartmentalize your issues. Don't let your mind over dramatize things by clustering unrelated issues. It will make you feel worse. Instead, remember that negative emotions exist only in your mind. Taken separately, most of your issues aren't such a big deal. There is no rule that says you have to solve them all at once. Start noticing how you feel. Record your negative emotion. Look at what triggers them. The more you do this, the more you will feel uncover certain patterns. For example, let's say you felt for a couple of days. Ask yourself the following questions: what triggered my emotions? What fueled them over the 2 day period? What story I was telling myself? How and why I didn't get out of my slump? And lastly, what can I learn from this episode? Answering these questions will be invaluable and will greatly help you to deal similar situations in future. Mhm. Your emotional accessibility. We previously saw you attract thoughts that matched your emotional say. The opposite is true. You can attract thoughts that are out of sync with how you feel at given time. Even if you try to think positive, your mind wouldn't reciprocate them. This is why during period of sadness, while positive thoughts may come across your mind time to time, you won't be able to associate with them, and you won't be able to change your emotional state. Hmm. Your emotional set point. Have you ever been told to cheer up when you are grieving, or express gratitude when you feel depressed? Did it help? It probably did not, right? This may this is because the emotional state you were in didn't allow you to access to all these emotions. In their book, Ask and it is given. Esther and Jerry Hicks offer a model to explain how emotional ranges connected and how we can move up the ladder from negative to open more positive emotions. For instance, in this model, depression and hopelessness is at the bottom of ladder, followed by anger. What it means is that when you feel depressed, signs of anger indicate you are climbing the emotional ladder. This makes sense. When you are angry, you have more energy than when you are depressed, right? Recently, after being depressed for a while, I experienced feeling of anger. For some reason, I got tired of the stories and excuses running through my mind, and I used the anger as a fuel to complete the task I've been avoiding. As a result, I was able to create momentum and climb up the emotional ladder. Whenever you experience negative emotions, watch your emotions that give you more energy. So called negative emotion like anger can help you to overcome disempowering powers like hopelessness. Only you know how you feel. Therefore, if anger feels better, accept it. Be more accepting, okay? Emotions and mental suffering. Did you know you create lots of unnecessary pain in your life? Each time you lock on a thought or hold on to your emotion, you suffer. A great example is how you react to physical pain. Whenever you feel physical pain, your first reaction is to interpret it, right? When you do so, you generate negative thoughts. Your identification with these thoughts is what creates mental suffering. Below are some example thoughts that may come across your mind. What if this pain never goes away? What if I can't do XYZ anymore because of the pain? What if it gets worse? What if I need to undergo a surgery? What if I can't go to work and I have an important project I need to finish? These all thoughts come across your mind, my mind. Yes, they do. Yeah, to exemplify it, last night I found a little pimple here on my breast. So I was so scared that what if it's through cancer? What if I die young? What if I don't become a great person? What if I don't become an analyst? This crosses my mind a lot. These are emotions, right? I don't have money. How will I pay the hospital bills if this thing gets worse? This internal dialogue creates suffering but does nothing to help the solve problem. You still you can still function properly and take appropriate action without dwelling on on any of the above worries. Negative emotions are not the problem. The mental suffering you create out of these emotions is. Another example of mental suffering is procrastination. Have you ever delayed starting a task for days or weeks, or just to realize it wasn't a big deal once you completed it? I have. Even I have. I procrastinate while I'm studying. I procrastinate a lot. What was the most exhausting part? The task itself or the time you spent worrying about it? Think about it. Just take a deep breath and think about it. Or perhaps you didn't sleep long enough and you keep telling yourself today is going to be a rough day. As you imagine all your tasks you need to do, you already feel exhausted. Psychologists have shown that mental suffering is what consumes most of your energy. After all, sitting at our desk all day shouldn't be a tiring, yet many of us feel exhausted at the end of the day. People inflict a tremendous amount of suffering on themselves. As you continue reading this book, you will realize the idiocy of this activity. You will notice people around you dwelling on the past they cannot alter. You will see your family members and friends worrying about the future. They can't predict, right? You will witness people having same repeated thoughts running in circles to fight a problem that exists only in their mind. For thousands of years, mystics have told us to that problems are just in our mind. They have repeatedly invited us to look within. Yet today, how many people are listening? No one. I am. Too many of us are addicted to our problems. Instead of letting go, we complain and we play the victim. We blame others or we discuss our problems without doing anything to solve them. To reduce this mental suffering, we must refuse to interpret our emotions in negative, disempowering way. Why problems don't exist? If you go one step further and look at reality in any objective way, we can say the problems don't actually exist. Here is why. What you don't focus on doesn't exist. The problem only exists when you give it attention. From your mind's perspective, what what don't you give any thought to doesn't exist. Let's take an hypothetical imagine. Imagine you lost your leg. If you accept the fact immediately and refuse to give any thought to it, there will be no problem. Thus, no mental suffering. You would simply be living in reality. A problem exists only in time. A problem can only exist in the past or in future. And where do the past and future exist? In your mind. To acknowledge a problem, you must use your thoughts, and thoughts exist in time, not in the present moment. A problem needs to be labeled as a problem to actually exist. A problem exists only when you interpret a situation as being a problem. Otherwise, there's no problem. This concept may be hard to grasp at first, but it's the key theory. In next section, we look the different components affecting your emotions. And let's do